Hey, welcome to the channel. This is training log 11, and it's been a while, but I really need to get through to the 100 miler eventually. But this one is ramping up to the next race, which is the 50k Weald Challenge Ultra. And this is the second time I've done this race. The first time I came second, and the person who came first basically dominated the race. So, and this time I found out that he wasn't actually running in it. And this is a race where it's trails. It's predominantly trails over fields and stiles and all that sort of stuff. There's about 70 sort of gates and things to sort of get over on the way, and then you end up by going over the Ashdown Forest halfway through where it's very exposed, and then you loop back along I think it's the Vanguard Way, and it's a really picturesque. It's a really nice trail ultra marathon. So yeah, where we left off with the previous training log, if you look at the bottom of the screen, it's the 26.5 miler. That was London Marathon, which went okay, but it wasn't as good as I wanted to, but I learnt a lot from that. So leading on from London Marathon, basically I had a sort of from the dates 24th to the 30th of April, so we had a bit of recharge time to rest the legs, and eventually by the second week after that I was back up to 60 miles a week, with the usual sort of basic running along the old Forest Way, just trying to get the mileage up, and then 3 weeks after that I was up to 72 miles a week, back again up to that sort of volume, which is kind of where I wanted to be. So I recovered well from London Marathon, and so from after 3 weeks, the long run which I'd done in that week was a 20 miler, which was a hilly road run, which I think it was torrential rain, hence doing roads. Otherwise I'd usually do trails and try and tailor it specifically to come to what the race which is coming up in terms of the actual terrain. But that was due to the rain that I chose sort of road for this. So I just got a new massage gun, which is fantastic, and I started using that, which is a bit of a luxury. So it's good to get the mileage up, and it's always good to get the long runs in. And then following that, I ended up by doing a bit of speed work. So I think it was a tempo run. Can't remember what the. Let me just double check. Yeah, there we go. So you go to the workout. Yeah, so I was hitting 5:52 pace for the 8 mile section of that. Just trying to get a bit of speed up. But I mean, effectively, I should sort of focus mainly on the race that's coming up, which was predominantly trails and ultra, which I was using as a sort of last long run before the 100 miler. So then after that, we had a bit more speed work, effectively, warm up, and then e-gridded park run, which is always a bit of fun. Usual sticky mud, and came first. I mean, it wasn't the quickest of times, but it was good enough. It's always good to come first in these events. I was wearing soft ground shoes for that. It's always good fun to get the park runs in, and then following that, I topped up with a trail run to hit 72 miles for that week. And then next week was kind of basic, just to hit this over 60 miles, because usually 60 miles a week is my main minimum volume, weekly volume, which I try and hit. So that was on the 15th to 21st. And then going into the 22nd, there was a long run, which was an 18 miler, which was hilly trails, and I think it was getting quite warm that time of year, so it's nice to have sort of dry ground underfoot, so you can get up on the trails. And then basically going into the week before that race, it was pretty sporadic, but then there was a long run, another trail run over the Ashdown Forest, which was good fun. But that one, I don't know what was wrong with me at that time. But and then the week before the race, which is the one which shows 31.5 miles, which is the 50k, I just took it really, really easy with just an 8 miler, just to keep the legs ticking over. I just got the Epix watch as well for which was a really nice addition to my running kit. And then going into the race, so my strategy for this was basically to win it. Basically, I really went hard on it. I knew that the guy who won it last year wasn't running, and so I ended up by trying to do basically what he did the year before, which was try and dominate the race. So I went out really fast at the beginning. It was sort of, it was unprecedentedly hot. It's June, but it got up to like 29 degrees or 28 degrees. We started out in the morning, so I went out really quick. You can see by the splits here, because I wanted to get to the mid part of it was very exposed, where the elevation is at its highest. So I wanted to get that out of the way and also make a big enough lead. Now, I learned a lot from this race because it's probably one of the worst. Well, I didn't enjoy it, especially at the end, because basically I got the worst cramps of my life in a nutshell. It was I'm pretty sure it was due to the heat, the electrolyte imbalance, and the hydration. And obviously, I went out really fast at the beginning. So I was dominating it from the start. I was in first place right the way up to literally the last mile or so before the finish line. And the cramps just I couldn't walk at the end. I was basically, I couldn't run at the end, basically. With all the styles to get over and everything like that, I had the worst cramps of my life. And then less than a mile before the finish line, the guy in second just wandered past me with ease, and I was gutted because I had the lead right the way until the end. But as with anything which happens in this sort of situation, you end up by you learn a lot from it, and you have to sort of retrospectively go back and try and work out learnings that you can improve for next time. So from this race, I totally changed my nutrition strategy in terms of, one, I started looking at it more scientifically in terms of the amount of grams per hour of carbohydrates that I needed. But in this case, I also realised that I needed a lot more electrolytes. And so I ended up by going over from like Morton and SIS Fuel and Hydration over to Precision Fuel and Hydration Company, which is great because they've got online calculators where you can work out your sweat rates and your calorific sort of intake per hour depending on the intensity and the sort of race that you've got. So I've doubled my electrolyte intake to the Precision Fuel and Hydration 1500 tablets, which are double sort of strength. So I think they give per tablet is 750 milligrams per half litre. But also in researching, I was just with the sort of engineering, so that's my cat in the background, but with engineering background, I wanted to sort of dissect it and work out why I got such bad cramps. Because it's gutting when have got such a lead, and then you end up by losing it in the last 5k, beyond the last aid station, just due to cramps, and you can't walk, and it's demoralising. So I researched about caffeine intake because I thought I was going to use that as a performance enhancing drug, and it ended up by I even took like Pro Plus. I had the electrolyte drink had caffeine in. The Morton gels that I was taking, some of them had caffeine in, and I had way too much caffeine. Now, on research, it shows that extreme amounts of caffeine can actually end up by inhibiting the absorption of sodium. And so I couldn't work out. I'm taking so much electrolytes, and it seemed like none of them actually helped in any way at all. And obviously sodium is one of the major parts of the electrolytes. So it shows that scientific research shows that it can cause leg cramps, and it absorbs it inhibits the absorption of sodium. And so in future, I'm going to have like higher strength electrolyte. I'm also going to have way less caffeine, and especially when it's really hot and your sweat rate is that much higher. Now, yeah, it was great to learn that, because effectively I had a 100-miler coming up in like a month or so's time, which I was really worried that I was going to end up by cramping up because it's such a long distance. Now, this race, when you go in to win it and you come back second again, which was the second year running, I was absolutely gutted. But it's, you learn a lot from it. So it's a tough way, but it does have a lot of value to it, doing a race like this. So yeah, I mean, I'll probably leave it at that. It was a good race in some ways, except for the last 5K. And yeah, well, thanks for listening. But it put me in good stead, ready for the next big race, which was the biggest one of my life, which was the North Downs Way 100, which was coming up in the near future. So it needed to happen. But yeah, well, thanks for listening anyway, and tune in next time for the North Downs Way 100, which will be a big one, and look forward to going through that one.